Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we are talking to Ryan Roi about organic marketing on social media. It's one of those things that's becoming more and more important as the industry changes and more people are getting into it. But this is one of those things that's going to be super powerful for the people that get it right, and it's going to keep them booked out. And the people that aren't able to do it as this industry grows over the next 5 years to double the size it is now. That's actual data to show that. It's gonna get harder and harder. I mean, we all know really talented artists that are out there right now that are only booked out a week or two, and then we know artists that aren't so great, and even some amazing apprentices that are booked out for months through the power of organic marketing over social media. Enjoy.
My name is Ryan Roi. Been tattooing now for a little over 15 years. I own Lowdown Tattoo in Brooklyn, New York. And a couple years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I started doing financial coaching because my shit was a mess years and years ago. And I was terrified that I would end up like the tattooers I saw that were 10, 20 years older than me, that they had nothing. And I started to get my shit together. I started to realize during COVID that, a lot of people need help with this stuff. That's when I went and pursued my financial advisor's license, went and got licensed as my Series 65, worked with a wealth management firm. And then I went off and just kind of did my own thing, doing financial coaching. And doing that, realized that, part of money is not just saving it, managing it, investing it, but like making it. And I had at that point invested so much time, money, and energy in my own understanding of marketing. And the tattoo industry has changed so rapidly. I was like, let's apply all of these lessons. I'm talking like over 6 figures of an investment. Like I basically went to a fucking college degree in marketing, but let's apply it to tattooing. And so that's when we started doing the Artful Marketer program, which is an organic marketing program where we teach people how to market themselves through, my main 5 areas are direct marketing, using automated like email services, website SEO, content marketing, and local marketing. And those are the 5 kind of key areas. And then within those areas, there are a lot of subcategories, but I look at it as like, let's have an omnipresent marketing approach. Let's not rely too heavily on one or the other. When I say content marketing, I mean social media, but I also mean like YouTube and stuff like that. And yeah, just kind of having it all feed in, drip in all these channels of clients. And then, that's why I've invited you, Jesse, to come speak in my program, because I think then paid marketing can be so powerful to just supercharge what you're doing on the organic side. And they really do support each other. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, man, and couldn't agree more with all of that. Like, as a marketing company, like we focus on the paid marketing aspect, but man, you put those things hand in hand, organic and paid, and it's a different level. And then I know there's a lot of artists and shop owners out there who might not necessarily have $1,000, $2,000 a month to do in paid marketing. Like you either have time or you have money.
Right. You have one resource or the other or both, yep. But if you don't have money, you have time. And if you have time, then let's focus on organic marketing to build up the funds so that we can then go into paid marketing. I think that's usually a good route.
100%, man. Because they just feed into each other. I had an apprentice on the podcast about a month ago, and granted, like she started tattooing on skin in February. I thought she had been tattooing for years, like just a talented individual. But she's booked out months, and it's all because she has really focused, she went very smart cookie too, but really focused on the organic marketing side of things. And I mean, if somebody just getting into the industry, and she's in Vegas, this isn't like she's in some like little town with one tattoo shop. Like she's in one of the most competitive cities in the country, if not the world. Yeah, and so if focusing on that and really putting what she's learned into practice as far as marketing goes can work for, again, somebody brand new in the most competitive city in the country, can work for fucking everybody.
So if we can demystify some of organic marketing today, that would be that would probably be helpful for people, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Um, so I have to just from teaching this and like there's a lot of strategies and like look, anyone can Google like how to get more clients for my tattoo shop, right? And now there's not a lot of directly focused organic marketing. And just like all I mean by organic marketing for anyone that's listening is like just not paid marketing. So there's paid marketing and then there's everything that you're kind of doing from all fields. So that's what I mean. It's not whatever, no GMO or anything. It's just not whatever marketing yourself. The number one thing that keeps people from marketing themselves is their perspective on what marketing is, because people feel like marketing is icky, it's scammy, it is pushy, it's salesy. And if that's your relationship with marketing, if that's what you think marketing is, how good are you going to be at it? Probably not that great, because you think that you have to be something that you don't want to be. And so I don't believe good marketing is any of those things. I don't think it's any of that. And so I'm not going to tell anyone to be pushy or scammy or fake. In fact, that stuff doesn't work. So, and you know it when you see it, and tattooers have a unique spidey sense for fake bullshit.
Yeah.
I think tattooers have more of that. They're very highly skeptical. And so, which can be a good thing. I think, there's a lot of bullshit out there. But then they take that kind of skepticism of other people in marketing, or they see what other people are doing that doesn't resonate with them. And then they assume that that's what organic marketing is. And so they don't want to do it, or they just resist doing it. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles for people that I've worked with now. And so there's a big portion of it is like, all right, let's just acknowledge that that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be some pushy, scammy thing. And you're truly your most valuable asset when it comes to marketing is your honest, authentic self, is the millions of dollars of value in your authenticity. And the more you can allow that authenticity to come out in your copywriting, in your videos, in your images, in your website, all of those areas, the more you can share that. And people know when they see it. So when your potential clients come across your website, there was a guy I just had on my podcast, Christopher Headland, just amazing tattooer. And his website, I was like reading up his bio and stuff like that, and it was just funny, and it was like not super serious, but at the same time, it managed to walk that line of like not being super serious, but also kind of qualifying him as an expert in his field. It kind of did that really well. We're like, that this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about, but he's not full of himself and he's not taking himself too seriously. And I just loved that. And so it's that kind of stuff that other people see. And when they're thinking about getting tattooed, now, sure, you have the price shoppers, right? Where they're not interested in the best possible tattoo. They just want to get the thing that they saw at the cheapest price. And so that kind of really good, powerful, authentic marketing might actually push away those people, which is good. That's what you want. Good marketing is going to be polarizing. It's going to push away people that you don't want to work with you, and it's going to attract people that you do want to work with you. And so I think the other hurdle for people is realizing that I'm going to push people away. I don't want to push people away. I want everyone to come get tattooed on me. I just want to, and you have to push the people you don't want away, because by doing that, you're going to become a stronger magnet for the type of people that you do want to work with.
100%. And one thing I want to interject really quick is that goes for paid marketing as well. Like we were having this conversation the other day about people leaving comments. Yep. If you're running a good ad by how mean the comments are on it. But it's funny because you go to those people, like we get a bunch of tattooers saying, hey, scam artists, like this guy's not even a tattoo artist. And my response usually does like, is your mechanic, like, is your tax accountant? Is that like, I'm only hiring the mechanic that's a tattoo artist. Anyway,
That's perfect. No, that's yeah. I'm only gonna work with the accountant that's also a tattoo artist. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. But you go to their page and it's always like a dirty little shop or a single artist that all their pictures are flash. It's like, okay, I'll
Or
do
it's the
I'll do a
person
day
with
session for 600
5 followers and their
bucks.
account is private.
Yeah, or it's a fake account. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
or it's their troll account. It's the
yeah.
account that they use, and literally the way that they find joy and peace in their life is waking up in the morning, scrolling through Instagram, and hating on other people. And honestly, I feel so bad that that is the mental prison that you have to wake up in every single day of your life. If that's you, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you out.
I mean, seriously though,
I'll just
it's
listen to you. I won't even charge you. If you just want to talk to me on the phone and just
yeah.
share, and if I can offer any guidance to help free you from that mental prison, I'd be happy to.
It's yeah. Some people are just want to watch the world burn. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But with those angry comments, like you look, and it's like that's not a person I'd want to work with anyway, or that's a person that
Yeah.
is going to be a bad fit for, they're not going to have the $2,000 day rate that I charge or something like that. They're going to want that sleeve for $200. So that's how you know if something is going well, is when you start to attract comments from people that you wouldn't want as clients anyway. Anyway, I just wanted to jump in real quick because I thought that was
Yeah. Yeah.
People think
100%.
bad comments are a bad thing, but it's an indication
No.
really that you're doing something right.
It always, all my best posts on Instagram that get the most likes, the most views, the most shares. When you know you're doing something good, when other people are sharing your stuff on their page, it's always those posts that also get the most hate on them. So it's
Yeah.
like the most love and the most hate. And it took me a while to understand that, like, I kind of need to lean into that. And so I think a lot of the main thing stopping a lot of tattooers from getting on social media and sharing themselves. And there's so much psychology about having your face in your marketing. There's so many like deep-seated neural pathways and subconscious elements that make people feel more connected and trust and drawn to and attracted to when they see another person that is being open, honest, authentic, and resonating, that it just draws them in. And that's what you want your marketing to do. Is that tattooers are worried about what other tattoo artists are going to think and say about them. And there's the randos all over the world that, are going to hate on your account or whatever. But then there's the people in your shop that they're stuck. They're stuck in their own old way. And so when you attempt to actually share yourself authentically with the world, it occurs to them as a threat. They find it threatening to their way of being, because to do that, here you want to get some deep shit, is like, there's actually a part of them deep down inside, like fucking deep, that wishes they could share themselves authentically, but they've trapped it under so many layers of trauma and blocks and stuff like that, that when they see another tattoo artist attempting to better themselves and share themselves and book more appointments, it occurs as a threat, because they would have to work through so much scary shit to be able to get to do that thing that you're doing that they want to do. And so then what we do when we feel threatened is we attack. And so that's what it is. And so whenever anyone is attacking you online, and I have had plenty of attacks, I love you guys. Thank you for the free marketing.
Yeah.
I know that there's some part of them that feels threatened, because there's some part of what I'm doing. If you didn't feel threatened, you wouldn't feel threatened if the thing that you feel threatened by wasn't somehow feeling like it was keeping you from sharing or doing that thing that you want to do. You would be neutral to it. And so that judgment, that threat, is coming from that place. And so, yeah, you wanna market yourself. You have to be free to be judged and not have a problem with it. I was saying to someone last night that I think the best organic marketers in the world, if you want to get really good at organic marketing, here's what you do. go out and go dance. Go dancing in public.
Oh God.
Because the less fucks you give about dancing in public, the easier it is to market yourself authentically. Me and my good friend Nadine Zumont, I fucking love you. Um, she lives out in New Mexico. She came to New York. We were hunting around for like whatever random club, dive bar, anything in New York. And I don't go dancing a lot, but I love to dance. And we found this little tiny dive bar. It was cool. It was like a sort of like a Blade Runner themed dive bar. It was like very like
Huh.
80s retro with like computer screens with the green letters, the green screen like
Yeah.
lettering, like very matrixy, cyberpunky kind of vibe. It was cool. And there was a dope DJ. They were fucking bumping. It was great. And it was tiny and it was packed. There were a lot of people in it, but no one was fucking dancing. And the music was fucking good. And I'm like, it takes so much energy to stop yourself from fucking moving your body and having a good fucking time. Like you have to give so many fucks about what the strangers around you think of you to not dance to good music. And so we just got in there and we just fucking tore it up. We didn't give a fuck. We're just shaking it. We're trying to egg other people on. And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, well, there's fucking music playing and you're in a fucking dance club. Like, why the fuck are you not dancing? There's nothing wrong. I'm not being weird. You're being weird.
Yeah. I love that.
So
That's a good
like,
analogy.
That's my advice is like, you want to get good at marketing, get comfortable dancing in public, get comfortable dancing when no one else is fucking dancing. Because what's going to happen is some people are going to be like, the fuck is this person doing? Ugh. And other people are going to be like, I kind of wish I could fucking dance. I wish I was like them. I wish I was free. They're going to be attracted to that. Even if they're not the one dancing, they're going to be drawn. There's going to be some part. And that's good marketing right there. Is you're bothering some people and you're attracting some people. And if they're bothered and annoyed and they unsubscribe from your mailing list, good. They were never going to work with you anyway. So get the fuck off my mailing list. If they stop following you, good. You were never going to fucking work with me anyway. So get the fuck off my followers list.
Yep. And one of my favorite sayings when it comes to being judged by people is you will never be judged or looked down upon by people that are doing better than you. It's always the people that are doing worse.
Down. They judge up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, who gives a shit if people are going to say nasty things? And, I know as humans, again, the psychology is like we want people to like us. We're social creatures. But, we're no longer living in tribes. We don't need people to like us so we don't get kicked out and fucking meant to live in the forest.
So it's a survival, deep neural. I'm really into like neuroscience and psychology. Like there is a deep survival mechanism that doesn't want it back in tribal, living on the desert, whatever, Sahara times, to be unaccepted or judged negatively by someone else was a death sentence. Mm-hmm. It absolutely was. You would have to be kicked out of the tribe. You'd be excommunicated, whatever it was. And so that's why we're so afraid of it. If you really think about it, you're like, there are, 9 billion people on this planet or whatever the fuck it is, or how many millions of people in your fucking city? Like, ask yourself, why do I care what they think of me? Why? Because what? Because they'll say something to someone else that I also don't know? They'll think something poorly of me or whatever. They'll have an opinion about me. And how does that impact my life? It doesn't. So why? So there is. It's just like there's a fucking machine in your brain. All right. Just acknowledge there's a fucking machine in your brain, and it is tuned to have you at all costs, as much as possible, avoid being negatively judged by other people. And it is so powerful that it keeps you from sharing that most valuable asset that you have, which is your authentic self.
Yeah. I mean, if you became a tattoo artist, you probably disappointed your parents at some point, and those are the people that raised you. So who gives a fuck about random people? I know I disappointed my parents many times.
That's a really good point. That's a good point. We have certain places in life where people's disapproval might not matter to us as much. And in fact, getting our parents' disapproval might actually trigger survival to us. It might mean survival to us because we might view them as so oppressive that actually getting their approval is threatening to us. And so then we seek the approval of, like, grew up in like the punk rock scene in New York City. And like, you'd think, oh, punk is all about not giving a fuck what people think of you. But like when you really dive into that, the scene, at least, like they care so much about what each of them think of each other, and who's the most punk, and who knows the most obscure punk bands, and who has the coolest story of the time they got drunk doing that thing, and blah 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 blah. It's like a fucking, measuring game, cock measuring game. It's like, who's got the worst fucking story, who's got the most punk experience. And it's like all about just like really caring about what someone thinks of you. And I think the most punk thing you can do is be exactly yourself without needing any approval of any tribe at all. That's really like the most punk rock fucking thing you can do. Don't be a part of any fucking tribe. And then you end up creating your own tribe. You end up finding your people. Like, it happens naturally, but it's authentic. It's not because we all need the approval of each other. It's because we all genuinely feel connected to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge difference, man. And one thing before we move on that I wanted to touch on that you had mentioned also earlier is the stereotype of marketing and sales, because immediately people jump to like the used car salesman with the slicked back hair who's just going to make it so fucking uncomfortable until you buy, just so you can leave. And I mean, really, if you go to a used car lot, that does still happen, but 96% of people in marketing and sales aren't like that. Like, that is the oddity.
100%. You're absolutely right. Most people, and I've worked with talented marketers, I've taken courses, and I absolutely have worked with some people that I'm like, you kind of irk me out, but you also have some knowledge that is useful. And if I can just separate how fucking weird I think you are from the actual valuable knowledge that you have, let me take that and, like, whatever, peace be with you. It's fine. But that is so rare, few and far between, that most of the people that I've met, I mean, we met, I feel like, a year ago, and then we did a podcast together, and then we got to hang out in Eugene. And I'm like, honestly, Jesse, all I ever tell people about you, I was like, Jesse's just one of the most fucking realist, down to earth, honest human beings, and he fucking knows his shit. And like, I got to hang out with you. We got to go on a long walk and talk, and had a meal, and like, I was like, I feel like this guy's like I consider you a friend. Like, I really do. I mean, you're a good fucking dude, and that's been more my experience in marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one, I appreciate that, man. That was fun. Eugene was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, as a tattoo artist, you might think, I'll never get into sales. If you have somebody get a hold of you that that have not worked with you before, you're already doing sales. Like, every single tattoo artist is a salesperson, no matter what.
Let's just call it what it is, right? You are in sales.
Yeah.
If you sell something, you're in sales, period.
Yep. Get good at it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact, like that's part of your job as an artist, whether you've thought about it or not.
What sales is, right? Sales. So again, I'm always looking at what is our belief system, because what you have the circumstance, and then you have whatever you believe about the circumstance, right? And that will drastically impact the way you relate to these outside circumstances. So you are a professional, right? Tattooing is not your hobby, right? Let's just get clear about that. If it is your hobby, okay, then you're not in sales, and then don't worry about a single fucking thing I'm saying, right? If tattooing is just your hobby that you do sometimes because it's fun, then don't worry about sales. But if it's the way you make a living, you're in sales. You're a professional. You're a business. So what sales is it's connecting. One of my favorite definitions of sales is actually, it's a transferring of emotion. And I can't force you to feel some type of way, right? I can say something nasty, and you might think like, okay, well, that's dumb, Ryan, so bye. Or you could get really hurt by it, right? But you could feel all types of ways about it. I can't force you to feel a certain type of way. To transfer emotion to someone, you have to be authentic, and you have to share something that enrolls them in and has it occur as a possibility or as an opportunity. That's what sales is. So all you're doing is enrolling other people in the possibility of getting tattooed by you in a way that occurs to them as more of an opportunity than getting tattooed by someone else or not getting tattooed at all.
Mm.
That's what sales is. That's what you're doing. You're having a conversation. Now you're marketing to bring them in and have them connected and want to genuinely get tattooed by you. And then you're selling them on the actual tattoo and making the deal by transferring the emotion. You are fucking passionate about tattooing. You love tattooing. Transfer that feeling that you have about the sick tattoo you know you're going to give them and it's going to be fucking awesome. Transfer that emotion to you. They will pay you whatever the fuck you ask.
Yep.
That's how you charge whatever you want. It's not about when there's this race to the bottom of the bucket in tattooing where people are like, trying to compete. Someone was telling me, they're like, I feel like I can't raise my prices because there's this other guy that is, way better than me and charges, way, way less. He charges almost nothing. And it's like, that guy's undervaluing himself. And so your metric for how much you should charge is a flawed metric based on someone that's undervaluing themselves. And now I promise you, if someone's undervaluing themselves, they're not good at sales. Because to be good at sales, you have to be present to the value that you offer. You have to be certain you are the first sale. When you sell a tattoo, when I charge $1,000 for a session in a tattoo, I have to be sold that like I would pay $1,000 for this tattoo. Like if you're not sold on it first, so you have to kind of tell yourself, would I pay this much for this tattoo? And if you can't sell yourself on it, you can't sell someone else on it.
Yep.
So be honest with yourself about that. But if you are sold on it, and like I know, like I give my tattoo clients a magical experience. I will exceed your expectations every fucking time. I know it. And so when I'm selling you a tattoo, I am so confident about that, but I'm not pushing you into it. I just like, you're aware you're talking to the guy that absolutely knows he's going to exceed your expectations, and I'm not even worried about it. And that is so attractive as a client. You feel so taken care of. You feel so certain. And that's what it is. It's trust, right?
Mm.
If they have zero doubt that they're going to get the end result that they want, and that end result means a lot to them, it's worth a lot to them, it's valuable to them, then you can charge whatever you want. You can charge, $5,000-$10,000 for a day session, but you have to be the first sale.
Mm. Yeah, if you don't believe it, like it, no matter how much you dress it up when you're talking to somebody, people can tell there's small cues on your face, in your tone, stuff like that. If you don't believe in what you're saying, like truly believe, not like, okay, I can do this, I can say this. Like if you don't truly believe that in your head, like people know
Yeah.
very easily. And yeah, 100%, man. Like obviously the art is a huge part, but the experience, is just as big. I mean, I've gone like 70% of my stuff has been done by the same artist because we sit down and we just vibe when he's tattooing me. And like,
Yeah.
I've been working with him for 10 years. Like he's a good dude. So that, and then, again, during the process, when you're meeting somebody new, like being excited about it, like being able to convey that you're the expert, like, I would rather go to somebody that like you can tell like believes in themselves and like it's just all excited about giving it to me than getting what would be, I guess, a better quality tattoo by someone I'm like, this guy doesn't give a shit. Like he doesn't care about
Totally.
me.
I've been tattooed by people that, here's what I'll say. I've been tattooed by people that I love their tattoos, and the experience of getting tattooed, I didn't feel like they gave a shit when I got tattooed by them. And one, I was less happy with the end result. I was. And it was not a bad tattoo. And I've had this on multiple occasions. I was less happy with the end result. And I never went back to that person.
Yeah.
And so it's you're selling more than just your tattoos. People buy the art and the artist.
100%.
Right? And they might come to you once for the art, but they're going to come back because of who you are. And so if you can capture that essence of who you are when you're just vibing with your client, like you said, you've been going to this guy for 10 years, like you just fucking vibe, you feel comfortable, feel good. good marketing is going to capture that authenticity, right? If he was
Mm.
like a pushy, weird salesman during the tattoo, and like that would not vibe with you at all. So just anything you do to capture that. And so I would say one of the best places to start, and this is probably not where a lot of tattooers want to start when it comes to organic marketing, but in my opinion, it's probably one of the best places you can start, is understanding copywriting.
Mm.
So, for anyone that doesn't know what I mean by copywriting, because I actually didn't know what that meant at one point, um, copywriting is the copy that you see in an advertisement. So, even the caption of your Instagram post, writing that is copywriting. Writing the email that you send out to someone is copywriting. And the reason I say that is because when at first, I personally like writing, like I enjoy writing, but then I realized when I started to study copywriting, and like Eugene Schwartz is like a famous copywriter that I started to read about and understand. He's a fascinating guy. Like I got deep into this stuff. It's like it's not just to be good at making money or marketing. Like I'm interested in the art form of copywriting.
Mm.
You realize that it's like being able to craft a magical spell, because if you take words and you put them in a certain order and it draws someone in, it hooks them, it draws them in, and it gets them to follow through. They're not doing that against their will. They're doing it because they feel connected. They see an opportunity. They're interested in it. And so you start to understand the structure of any type of marketing through understanding copywriting. You start to understand the structure of a good Instagram post. You start to understand the structure of a good blog post, a good email. I think copywriting is probably like one of the best root places where you can understand, like Eugene says, the point of the first sentence, the entire point of the first sentence
Mm.
is to get them to read the second sentence. And
Yep.
the point of the second sentence, okay, now listen up. The point of the second sentence is to get them to read the third sentence. And the point of it, and it's just
Yep.
like, because you want to draw them in to get, and by the time now, if you just said, doing Japanese tattoos, come get some with a picture of it, right? They aren't hooked and they aren't drawn in. But if you create that allure and you're like, five facts about Japanese tattoos you didn't know, and then you start to talk about the history of it and you start to share some of the mythology, you start to build that narrative, that story. And then, by the way, I'm looking to do a Hanya mask on this date. I have one available spot. If you want to get it, come and snag it. You build that scarcity, you make the call to action, you invite them in. That is more powerful. That's like the difference between jet spray on your hose and like a mist of like, come, I do Japanese tattoos, come get some.
Yeah.
And all of that can be learned through learning copywriting.
And to kind of touch on that and bring it over to social media, one thing I think a lot of people don't understand is if like you're using an image in your post, the entire point of that image is to get somebody to stop scrolling.
Yeah.
That's it. So you have to stop scrolling, pay attention, read the post. The point of your post should be to point them to wherever you want to take that call to action, whether you want them to go to your website, message you, follow you. But that's the same thing. And like, Eugene Schwartz, Ogilvy Advertising, like these books that are the foundation of copywriting and marketing were written in like the 40s, 50s, 60s. Like it hasn't changed. That's the craziest part.
Yeah.
Like these are the pillars
And
that
why
can work
hasn't
with
it changed?
anybody.
Because human psychology hasn't changed all that much in the
Exactly.
past 1,000 fucking years.
Yep.
We get better at understanding it, but the core elements of it haven't changed.
Yep.
And so everyone's trying to hack the algorithm. Like, I don't give a fuck about hacking the algorithm. I give a fuck about hacking your psychology, the way your neuroscience works. All social media is a drug dispenser. And your brain is the thing that produces the drug, and social media is the thing that triggers it. And all anyone's doing when they're scrolling is they're looking for their hit. They're looking for the next hit. And so anytime I'm looking at a video that I make or a post or whatever it is, or the subject line in an email, or the first thing that you see when you come to my website, I'm looking for, like, really asking myself, like, do I feel any kind of spark? Do I feel any kind of hook? Is this going to stop the scroll? That's all I care about. I don't care. It doesn't need to provide value, but it can allude to the value that it will provide. That's hooky, right? So don't say the thing that you want to say. talk about the fact that you're going to say the thing you want to say, you're going to offer the value, draw it in, they feel connected to it. Someone that is interested in getting a full Japanese bodysuit probably wants to go to the guy that knows about the history of it. And I'm just using Japanese tattooing as one example, but anyone can get what I'm saying. Is like, you can apply this to thinking about. I was talking to a client the other day. He was making a flyer. He was going to use it for a post on social media, and he was going to do like maybe a printed version, or I don't know. Anyway, the point was, some of the coaching I was giving him was that you need to give people's eyes a very specific place that you want it to go. And you need to think about the journey that their eyes are going to go on. And he had like a lot of text. It was different sizes. It was bold up here, and it got a little bit smaller, and it got smaller, and it was like a bunch of text here, and then like some really tiny stuff down here. And so my eye had like, it was also confusing up at the top. There was like a thing, and it's like my eye didn't really know where to sit at first, right? And so you want to give as few places for their eyes to rest, and you want to give them very clear places for their eyes to rest in whatever copy or post or flyer or story post or whatever your carousel post that you're making. Make it easy. Make almost like a good thing I heard is, make it so simple a caveman can understand it. And if you think about that in your marketing, the simpler you make it and the easier you make it for them to know exactly what this post, this email, this website, this message is about, the easier it is for people to stop. If they can't within 1 second, a fraction of a second, get a clear sense of why would I want to stop on this post, they're going to keep scrolling. And so always thinking about like, how quickly can I deliver what it is that I'm going to talk about in a way that explains the value that I have to offer, and that hooks them in, and then building that narrative, that story to draw them in. So these are things that can be applied to all areas of your marketing: your website, your email, your social media, your direct message, all your stuff.
Yeah, keeping it simple, direct, to the point, letting people know what to do is see posts all the time. They're just trying to pack so much information into this little square that's this big on your phone. And one of my favorite examples of keeping it simple and it being super successful, I have two. One is, if you haven't watched Fire Festival on Netflix, a documentary about a festival they were putting on that was a disaster. Really
I watched it a while. It was so hard to watch that thing.
It's so hard. He is out of prison. My buddy actually got an interview with him, and he said he's going to try to put on another festival. Whole different subject, but I thought
that's amazing.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
What marketing is that? Like, the guy that threw the worst failure of a festival ever throws another festival. That's a headline right there.
That is a headline. Yep. Setting it up the whole time. He's like, I'll just go to prison for a couple of years. It'll be worth it. But when they originally started promoting this, all they posted on social media was an orange square, and it gained nothing on it. Gained so much traction. It was so simple. You're like, what is this? It grabbed attention. The other example that I love is during the Super Bowl, probably 2 years ago, one of the 30-second commercials was just a QR code bouncing, nothing else. Nothing else. It ended up being for, I think, Coinbase, but they had like 12 million people, because you see a QR code, you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to scan it. It piqued people's interest. It got them to stop what they were doing, talking to friends, family, whatever. Scan it. They had like 12 million people in 30 seconds go to their site.
One of my favorite, I was listening, I think I saw this on Instagram as a reel, this woman talking about guerrilla marketing for, I think it was for Bumble, the dating app. Mm-hmm. They made signs for college campuses that said Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Bumble, and it crossed them all out. It was like no, like, we will not allow Facebook, TikTok, and it made it look like they were against these things, and they put up these flyers all over a college campus. And so when people saw it, they were like, "What do you mean no Facebook, TikTok, and what the fuck is Bumble?" And then they downloaded the app.
That's genius.
It's so fucking brilliant. And
that's
then
awesome.
Sex sells, right? They had well-endowed women wearing Bumble shirts walk into a college class and be like, "Oh wait, this isn't my class, sorry. And like it said Bumble across their shirt. So like all the students are just like looking right there
Genius.
like, the fuck is that? And they just walk and they just did it class to class to class to class to class. So when you start to think of like how human psychology works and the curiosity that you're building, and like how do you get in front of eyeballs, that's all. That's the other part of it is you can have great marketing, but if it's on the fucking top of the Mount Everest,
Mm.
not many people can see it.
Yeah.
And social media, and this is why I am so fucking like amped, pumped. I talk about social media so much. Social media has democratized marketing in a way that has never happened in the history of humanity. Years ago, people complain about social media, and it's like, okay, years ago, if you wanted to get in front of 100 eyeballs, 1,000 eyeballs, whatever it was, you had to pay tens of thousands of dollars to like be on TV or on radio. There
Mm.
was no way for you to get in front of, there was no way for you to even get in front of 10 strangers. If you wanted to market your business to 10 strangers, like, yeah, you could put a sign on a billboard, but like 10 strangers in another city or another place. And now with Instagram, people get bummed if their post only gets 20 likes. It's like,
Mm.
that's 20 people. Imagine if I was in this room, there's 20 people standing right here and they all liked a thing that I did. That's a lot of fucking people. You should be stoked on that. Those are your fucking people. And so I've been thinking a lot about this. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this, but my theory after diving deep into social media and stuff like that is you should have two types of posts. Well, there's a lot of different types of posts, but you should have, I categorize them in two different categories. I have posts that I want to go broad and wide. I want them to get a lot of attention. I want them to get a lot of comments. I want them to, get this on the search page and stuff like that. And that's my goal. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But that's my goal with that post, right? Draws people into the conversation. And then I want posts that go narrow and deep.
Mm.
And only, I have 30,000 followers on Instagram. A good post of mine will get 5, 6, maybe 8, 9, 100,000, 1,000 likes, 900 likes or whatever like that. A good reel will get, 30K views, like upwards to like 50 to 100, but like on average, a good one's like 30K is like decent. Then I have the reels that get 150 views, but they
Mm.
go narrow and deep and they get really good comments and they resonate with people. And then and that's how I know that those are really the people that are really connected to what I'm doing.
Mm.
And if you don't post a combination of stuff that's going wide and broad and drawing people in, and then stuff that's, I know that half the shit I post, I know isn't going to do good, but I'm not worried about the metrics. I'm worried about resonating my message deeply with a few people. That's more important to me.
I just had this conversation yesterday with a artist. We're running brand awareness campaigns for him, and he wasn't happy because he's like, "Hey, I've done this on my own, and I've gotten way more followers than you're getting me." And I was like, "Okay, first let's take a look at what you were doing. You were running to a radius of like 500 miles with no targeting at all. You would just take anybody. And sure, like if you just look at the metrics, you're like, oh, well, this was doing way better. And unfortunately, people really get caught up on
They
the
get
number
really
versus
caught
the
up on that.
quality. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like what we're doing is we're running brand awareness campaigns to get you followers within 15 miles of your shop that like tattoos are in the top 10% of income so they can afford your style. That's two
Yeah.
entirely different people. Like quantity or quality,
Totally.
quality wins every time.
So if you have ad spend, and let's say you spend $1,000 a month on ads, would you rather get 10 new followers that all want your style, have the money to do it, and and you paid $100 per person, right? 10 people, you paid $100 per follower, right? And each one of those people, maybe they pay anywhere between 500 and 1,000 or more for a tattoo because they're the type of people that want to get what you want to do and they have the money to do it. Or would you rather get 100 new followers that are fucking wherever the fuck they are and they just think what you do is cool, but they're never going to get tattooed by you?
Yeah.
And that's the difference between quality marketing, quality ads, targeting, and just trying to get the metrics, the numbers. I've been shifting my organic marketing approach recently, and I knew that when I did it, I was going to lose followers. Like I was
Mm.
going to slowly decline. not just slow my growth, but I knew that I was going to, because the message that I've been giving out for the past couple of years is like, let's get better with money. Let's get better with marketing. Let's make more money, save more money, do that. Who doesn't want to do that? Everyone fucking wants to do that. So I attracted a lot of people and like, okay, that's great. But I realized that a lot of those people aren't actually willing to do the work. They want the quick dopamine hit that, oh, I saved the marketing tip that Ryan posted. I saved it, and that means I'm gonna make more money now because I saved it and I'm never gonna look at it again.
And it goes to the graveyard of saved.
The graveyard of shit that I saved. And I just realized that I attracted a lot of those people. I'd be surprised if one of them's listening to this podcast, because usually the people that listen to my podcast, listen to me on podcast, are the type of people that actually do the shit that I like to do. And I realized that I need to narrow down my message and talk about the things that I'm really passionate about enlightenment, spiritual awakening, those emotional blocks and how they relate to our marketing and our money and the relationship that we have, the fear, the judgment, all that stuff that's blocking us, keeping us from making more and saving more money, and addressing that psychological, emotional, and spiritual relationship we have to this thing called money that no one wants to talk about. I want to fucking talk about that. And so and I knew I was going to lose. There were going to be a lot of my followers that weren't as into that, and that I was going to lose followers from doing it. And I decided this was a good move. And I'm glad I did, because I still, even though my growth has slowed and in fact started to decline, the quality of people that do follow me now, by seeing everything that I'm into, they're excited by it and they're genuinely doing it and they're actually getting value. They're not just saving the post. They're actually doing it. They're messaging me. They're like, Ryan, I did the thing that you said and it fucking helped. I went to that free seminar that you led. Some guy told me he went to the free marketing seminar that I offered and started booking more appointments almost immediately because he started sharing himself more on social media. And that seminar gave him the mental perspective to start giving more of his authentic self on social media, and that it immediately started to work and book more appointments. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And he's like, I honestly can't wait to work with you. I'm not right there yet, but I look forward to it. And I'm like, cool. Like, whether or not we work together, great. I'm just glad that I provided value. Those are the type of people I want to attract.
And along that, people are like that train of thought. People are so into that instant gratification of, hey, I want people that follow me to come in now, or my ads, I want to get those people in my shop right now. Only 3% of your target ideal audience is in the buying mode. And that's the 3% everybody focuses on. That leaves 97% that nobody's even thinking about touching, not thinking about the long run. 3% are going to are like in the buying mode to get tattooed. Another 7% are probably going to do it within the next couple of months. And then the rest of them is within the next couple of years. And everybody neglects those.
If ever.
If ever. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody tries to even talk to those people that aren't coming in immediately. But we signed clients that have been following us for 2 years and never said a word to anything. But understanding that this is a long game. You know, everybody's worried about how they're going to eat tomorrow, but they don't even think about how am I going to eat in 2 years. Well, and in 2 years, they're typically, move to a different shop or something like that because they haven't done super well. But like this content stuff, it 100% works, but people will go in there and they'll make 3 posts and be like, well, it doesn't work. Okay, gonna go do something else.
God, 100%. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did 27
and I
podcasts.
think in marketing in general, so we said, what are qualities you need to be good at, like organic marketing, is you need to be able to dance in public without giving a fuck, okay? You also need to be able to put a lot of work in, knowing that there is a chance that you will see zero reward from this anytime soon.
Yep.
And then you have to do that work, not just once or twice. You have to be consistent because the returns compound over time. Mm-hmm. But most people want that quick reward. They're not patient enough, and they're not, the word is grit. You ever read the book by Angela Duckworth? Yeah. Yep. Anyone wants to read a fucking book that'll change your fucking life? I think the book's just called Grit, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And she actually studied this quality called grit because she was interested in what makes someone, like, I think it was first she was talking about the military and like what makes someone become a Navy SEAL. What are the qualities that allow someone
Hmm.
to go through such a grueling, difficult, challenging time and then become? And she's like, is it their height? Is it their age? Is it their strength? Is it their what? And measuring all the qualities, she realized among all those things, she couldn't find. Is it their race? Is it this? Is it what? Like literally, like studying everything. And she said the one thing that dictates the success of someone in that scenario, and this applies to so many things, and I think it definitely applies to marketing, is grit,
Yep.
is being able to be insanely intentional, highly intentional with very low, if it not no, and I don't think anyone can have no attachment, but no attachment to when or how the outcome's going to show up. But being and maintaining that high intention, that's the hardest fucking thing. And I'll say that's the biggest problem that I see with people. And people come into the Artful Marketer program and they want that, but they kind of, it's hard for them to like bridge that gap between knowing, okay, well, if I'm going to take all these actions, I want to be taking the right actions. And if I don't know when they're going to show up, I want to be sure that the person telling me what actions I'm going to take has proven that these actions have worked for other people. And so then I can take action and let go of whether or not I see a result immediately or 2 weeks from now or whenever I see it. And when you let go of that, you're more often than not surprised in the outcome. Sure, there are times where people like do the thing I said to do and it didn't result in the thing that I want. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's perfect. We need to know why it didn't produce the result. We need to learn the lesson. So let's look at it, let's review it and see, okay, well, what's different about this and that? What could we change? Oh, okay, because we did it in this way, because we didn't give the eyes enough of a place to rest. The message was right, but the way it was delivered wasn't. So now we can learn that lesson. But if you didn't take that action, you would have never learned the lesson. So you're either going to get one of two things out of taking the marketing action. You're either going to get the result that you were looking for, or you're going to get the lesson you need to learn how to do it better.
Mm.
But a lot of tattooers, I talk to thousands of tattooers I talk to on Instagram, and I ask them the same question. I say, what are you currently doing to market yourself? And they tell me the same thing every single time. They say, I'm posting on Instagram. Maybe they're trying to share themselves a little bit more, but most of them are not. I'm handing out business cards whenever I can. I'm drawing Flash and I'm posting it. And then I heard all the time, and occasionally I do a raffle. All right. That's what people are doing. If you're listening to this and that's what you're doing, I just want you to know that everyone else is also doing it and it's not working for them. Okay.
Yep.
So acknowledge that in marketing, you want to stand out. You have to do what other people are not doing or not willing to do. And so if your marketing strategy looks just like what I just said and it's not working for you, it's because everyone else is doing the same thing and it's not working for them. And so you need to try something different. I don't know what that is. I'm not saying you take Ryan's course, but you need to do something different in order to see an extraordinary result. And if you're getting an ordinary result, which everyone's seeing the quote unquote tat apocalypse, which I think is the most
I love
ridiculous
that.
thing that I've heard people say. The tat apocalypse. No, is it the tat apocalypse? Is tattooing oversaturated? No, maybe could it be that your marketing could use some improvement? No, that couldn't possibly be it. It must be the tat apocalypse. So, you can convince yourself of that, but all you're doing is you're giving yourself a really good excuse to not take new actions. And if that's what you want to do, then keep calling it the tat apocalypse, keep blaming oversaturation. But if you want to take control of your business, of your life, then stop blaming things outside yourself, because where you place the blame, you place the power, and the power. I put the blame on myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's scary to do that, because then it means I'm responsible. Then it means, oh, the new saturated, all the tattoo schools aren't responsible. Oh, the economy's not responsible. Oh, I'm responsible. That means if I fail, then it's my fault. Yes. And that gives you power to say that. So that's why I always blame myself. I don't beat myself up. I say, okay, these are the things I can't control. I'm not going to blame that or worry about that. Those are the circumstances. It's how I face those circumstances. And then looking at the things that I can control, that I can do. People say, oh, I just don't have enough time to market. And I'm like, okay, is it because you're tattooing so much that you don't have time to market? They're like, no, I just, it's like social media takes so much time. I'm like, okay, so is it that you don't have enough time? Or is it that you keep telling yourself that you don't have enough time, convincing yourself that that's true? And I said this on a podcast, like we lie to ourselves a lot. I do it too. I'm not pointing fingers
Mhm.
here. We lie to ourselves. We say the same thing. People love saying, I don't have enough time.
Oh yeah.
And they convince themselves and other people that they don't have enough time. And then it becomes true to them. But it's not the truth. You could go to sleep an hour earlier. You could wake up an hour earlier. You could block time out in your calendar. You can structure your time better. We all have the same fucking 24 hours in a day, but it's how you structure it, right? Look at Tetris, right? Are your hours in your day that Tetris board that has all the holes in it and like nothing's
Mhm.
efficient and you just like there's like 12 pieces on the screen and you already lost? Or is your time structured in a way that where there's very few gaps, you've really thought it out, it's methodical, that person is going to they have so much more time than the person that doesn't have that structure. And if you can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. So it's the one resource that I feel, I mean, all resources are, you know, worth managing. The more you can get out of the money you make, the more you can get out of the time you have, the better your life will be, in my opinion. I don't see how you could improve those two areas and your life not improve. And so, you know, just looking at the conversations you have, look at the things you say about money, about marketing, about time, bring your awareness to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Remember, I said copywriting is like spells. It's like a magic spell. Well, the copy that comes out of your mouth is like a magic spell, convincing you of the way the world is, which leads to the actions you take, which leads to the habits you build, which leads to the identity that you have about yourself. And a lot of people have the identity that they don't have enough time.
Yep.
Every time I catch myself saying that, I recognize I'm like, I don't want to build that identity. So I try to acknowledge like this is not a priority for me right now. Instead of saying I don't have enough time for this,
Mhm.
I say this is not a priority, so I'm not willing to put the time into this right now. And I'm just honest with people. Sometimes people ask me to be on their podcast or be on things, and I'm like, I kind of want to, but I don't want to say yes because to be honest, it's not a priority for me right now. That
Mhm.
particular opportunity might be interesting, but right now it's not a priority. And yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's a long rant, but
No, I 100% agree, man. I guarantee you, if people knew if they posted like decent content at least 7 days a week, and out of that they got every week 2 to 3 tattoos that were at least a decent size, they would do it. The problem is, and that's what will happen if you do post that for 6 months, people quit when they don't see it in the first month. Like
right.
that's the thing is if you knew you were going to make money off your social media posts, you would make fucking time. 100%. You just don't want to do it for the 6 months and not get that. I mean, we're a society of instant gratification now. Like instant,
Yeah.
and social
Well,
media
this
is
is what
part of
I
that.
tell people. I say, look, don't make your goal to post 7 days a week. Make your goal to post however many times per week you can do consistently for 6 months and then slightly increase it. I used to post 3, 4 times a week, like about a year ago. I've been pretty consistently posting every day. Occasionally I miss for close to a year. And yeah, sure, sometimes I just need a break, so I take a little bit of a break. But it's amazing. It's like I built this muscle up in making content. I understand content better. It's not so overwhelming. It's easier for me to get in front of the camera. It's easier for me to type something up. It's a skill. Do you still tattoo at the same speed you tattooed at when you started tattooing? No, you tattoo a lot faster. And I think people just like, oh, it takes so much time. It's like it takes time because you're not good at it yet and you never put the time in to get good at it. And if you never do put the time into it, you're never going to get good at it. So we can complain about how much time it takes. And it's like, yeah, it used to take me 4 hours to edit one video. I can edit a video in 20 minutes now. I can cut it, chop it, flip it, dip it, whatever I gotta fucking do to it and make it look. And here's the other thing. So great dancer in public. What do you say? Delayed gratification
Yeah.
and fuck the perfectionism. Fuck it so
Oh yeah.
fucking hard. That thing that makes you such a good tattoo artist that you need. It's you've relied on your perfectionism to succeed at tattooing, and I'm glad that you have. Now throw that the fuck out the window because it's not serving you in your marketing. Do it messy. Do it sort of half-assed. Do it consistently. I'd rather be consistently messy with my marketing than trying to be a perfectionist. People always claim, I'm not great at spelling. My grammar's fucking horrible. My computer catches a lot of my misspellings, but I was like notorious for having misspellings in my copy on my actual posts and in my captions. People would point it out. They'd always comment. And they literally were like, are you doing that just to get me to comment about this? I'm like, I wish I was doing it. I wish I was that smart.
That's a good strategy.
No, I'm just like rushing through. I'm just like getting it done. One time I was tattooing this metalhead guy. He talked like this. He's like, yeah, man, and just like, and he's like, man, like the opposite of perfect is done.
100%.
And I was like, that's like that's wisdom of the sages coming through your fucking mouth right now.
That's amazing. Oh,
and so yeah, I'd rather it be done and posted than perfect because it's never going to be perfect and it's never going to be the right time. Like, oh, it's not good. It's not a good time for me to start marketing myself. Like, people are like, I want to take your course, Ryan. I really want to do it. It's just not a good time for me. I'm like, when is it a good time to like start to learn? It's never the right time. It's never a good time to start learning something new. And again, we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that that's the reason why we can't do the thing that we want to do. And now, if you don't want to do it, like, don't do it. But if you say you want to do it, but if you're really honest with yourself, is it that you don't have enough time? Or is it that you're afraid that it worked for some other people, but it won't work for you, or that you're going to put the time in and it might not see the result because you're so attached to the short-term outcome and you can't even be present to the long-term benefits, right? People come into my course all the time and they're like, in the first week, I booked 23 appointments. I booked $10,000 in a day. I booked, like, people say that shit all the time. And like, that's flashy stuff. So like, I'll like to promote it, but that's not really the benefit of this course at all. Like, that's the fancy little, like, yeah, I can say that. And it's happened for dozens of people and it happens all the time. But what's really fucking awesome is that you get tools and a habit and a perspective on marketing that serves you for the rest of your life. And you paid a couple $1,000s, and over the rest of your life, that will turn into 10, 50, 100, 200, $500,000 or more, because you have now the consistent perspective and tools to take action in a way that you were never going to do if you never took this course. And so, broadening that time horizon, dancing in public, be patient, and fuck the perfectionism. Like, these are all the skills that are needed to be good at organic marketing.
Yep. And kind of bring it back. It all comes down to grit. Like, you are going to suck when you start. Your content's not going to be great. That is literally the only way to get better. Like, if you go back and yep. And that's, and if you do, you're ahead of 98% of people, because that is where everybody quits. That is where everybody quits. I was reading these stats the other day. So we didn't sign our first client from our podcast, I want to say, until like episode 27 or something like that. So that's 27 hours in just recording, not including editing, posting, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And now it's, snowballed, but over 90 or it's 90% of people will only post one podcast and then quit. And it's like 96 or 97% won't do more than 10 podcasts.
I heard it's 9 or 10 podcasts. If you post more than 9 episodes of a podcast, you are ahead of like 99% or 95% of all people that start podcasts.
Yep. And we didn't sign our first client from it until episode 26, 27. And now it brings us multiple clients every single month. But it's just that thing. Like, if I would have quit, or if you would have quit posting content or tried to be perfectionist about it, or say, hey, I'm going to start tomorrow. Like, all it takes, like, it simply boils down to just taking action. That's literally it. There's no magic secret sauce, anything like that.
but
suck
letting go
ass
of the
when you
result.
start and going.
Imagine if you worked on something for 26 hours plus whatever editing and stuff like that, right? We're talking 30 plus hours over. You show up, you record, you talk. You show up, you record, you talk. You schedule the thing. You show up, you record. You show up, and not seeing any fucking fruit from your labor and not having any idea if you ever will.
Mm.
Like, most people are not capable of doing that, and that is why most people see the results that they have.
Yep.
And it's not working for them. And being able to do that, just the fact that you're able to do that, it's that quality. And I'm not saying people need to start a podcast. I'm saying they need to adapt and adopt that quality. And maybe you should do a podcast, because podcast marketing, social, YouTube, like these things are like, I think tattooers that start podcasts, I'll just say, be completely fucking honest. It's easy for you to capture those moments where you're just being your authentic self when you're talking on a podcast. And you're talking for a while, there's these clips, and then you share that on your tattoo page and people just resonate with it. You're talking about whatever, video games or sports or whatever the fuck you're into, motorcycles or Beanie Babies. I don't care. If you're Pokemon cards, whatever you're passionate about, talk about that on a podcast, and then take those clips and share that on your tattoo page. And then you're going to have people that come, they see it, they resonate with it, they connect, and like, oh, I also like the tattoos. I was talking to a guy, he tattoos on a lot of military bases. He travels around, and like he has some deal with the military, and he like gets to travel and tattoo on bases. And he's big on TikTok. And he said he gets so many clients from TikTok. And he said, like, every fifth post or something is something that is a tattoo, a picture or an image of a tattoo. The rest of it is just him just goofing off, having fun, being himself. He posts more about that than he does about tattoos. And he said he gets tons of clients who find out about him through TikTok, and he's traveling around. And so, it's like the Gary V jab, jab, jab hook, like, you actually want to give more of the type of stuff that draws in and connects people to you, and then hit them with the tattoo. By the way, you want to get a tattoo? This is what I'm doing. If you're interested, hit me up. But the rest of it's just marketing. That's just connecting with people. And then there's oh, by the way, here's what I do. I know it's sick. You should fucking probably do something about that and book a tattoo with me,
Yeah, perfect example. Boyd Tattoo. He's a tattoo artist out of Denmark. He only does like
I was
dark
just
art
talking to
stuff.
him. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I want to get him on the podcast. I was just chatting with him. Yeah.
He is awesome. We had him on the podcast a while ago. But what originally made me find him was his content, and what made me like him was his content. He's just a funny dude, but he also does amazing work. So he is flying to Miami in August. And as soon as I heard that, like, I've consumed his content, it makes me laugh. I love his style. So he's going, like, I'm his ideal audience.
Tattooed by in August.
That's who I'm getting tattooed by. Yeah. So I'm going to fly from
Sick.
Washington State to Miami for a day session. That's $3,000, and then flying back, because he made this amazing content and got it to the right people. And obviously he's a great artist too, but
you're going to buy
that's
a
the
fucking
power.
plane ticket and pay a day rate to get tattooed. Why? Because you found the guy's content entertaining, and his tattoos happen to be fucking insane.
Yeah. The people are out there.
Of content marketing.
Yep.
So you can either gripe about it and be like, oh, I did it and it didn't work, or no, I don't like tattooers like, I don't want to do TikTok dances. Like, don't do TikTok dances.
That's what I hear all the time too.
If you did, I did that one post where I was like, just proving to people you won't die if you dance on social media. It's not that big a deal. Like, you don't have to dance, but like, if you did, who fucking cares? I also like to dance, so. Yeah, this is good stuff. I'm glad the conversation kind of weaved into these different areas. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it's good, man, and there's just not enough of it out there. And again, we've all seen how much the industry has grown post COVID. It's gonna double again in the next, by 2029, 2030.
Yeah.
The stuff that we're talking about now that nobody is doing, like, as much as the industry is going to fight it, like, there's nothing you can do. It's going to become a more mainstream industry. More people are going to move in it. It's going to get more commercialized. That's, you can hate that, but it's going to happen.
And it happens in our industry. And people say like, oh, it's ruining what was sacred about tattooing. And so, you know what? What was sacred about tattooing is still sacred about tattooing. But if you were a part of tattooing before Ink Master and all that, you were fucking lucky. I've been tattooing since before Instagram, since before Ink Master. Like, that's right when I just got in. I was a body piercer, and then I started tattooing. Like, I'm grateful for seeing a time in tattooing when it wasn't like what it is, and it's like a treasure in my life that I get to experience. But I'm not resisting the fact that that's changed and it's different. Okay, it's changed, it's different. We can either embrace that change or not. But like, that's evolution. The fucking fish didn't fucking get mad that another fish started walking on land. It's like, no, we
Yeah.
fucking change and adapt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can resist it as much as you want. Any artist can. It doesn't change the fact that it's going to happen. It doesn't change the fact that the people that adapt and start doing content marketing and stuff like that, especially with the new generation coming in, like, that's what they know. They grew up with cell phones in their hands, and kind of talking about things we're thankful for. I'm glad I grew up in a time before that where we actually, went
Yeah.
outside and stuff. Like, it's a huge different
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah. But
Yeah.
these kids coming out of like art school and stuff that are amazing artists. Like, there's amazing artists in every town
Oh,
now.
the level of talent of people that are getting into tattoo. Because back in the day, a lot of, let's talk about, be real talk, old school tattooers, traditional tattooers, they weren't great at drawing. They were copying shit out of the Sears catalog. Like, they weren't fucking phenomenal fucking artists. Now you have fucking insanely talented artists that have never tattooed, but they're starting 1,000 levels above where most tattooers started 10, 20 years ago. That's their starting point. And then the tools and the equipment and the technology and everything is so much better. Of course, in 1 year, they're becoming sick fucking tattooers. So, and why wouldn't they want to? Why wouldn't a talented artist want an opportunity to express themselves in the medium that they feel called to express themselves? And why the fuck do tattooers feel like they have the right to shame someone for wanting to get into tattooing, for wanting to learn, for going to a fucking tattoo school, or get by whatever means necessary? And the fact that tattooers are the gatekeeping shit is just forcing people to learn on YouTube and teach themselves in their kitchen. And so, like, gatekeep if you want. I'm not judging you on that, but you're literally creating the very problem which you're complaining about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. It's definitely a very interesting time. But yeah, with these kids coming in, knowing social media, being amazing artists, but on top of that, being more friendly, more people oriented. That was one of the things with Sunny that I talked about, that apprentice I had on. She just had this really happy, bubbly personality, the kind that like people want to be around. And you're starting to
Yeah.
stack all these things, and it's going to get to the point, and it already is, like, you can be an amazing, talented artist. But if you're a grumpy old motherfucker, like, there's just a good artist down the street that's a great person.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about this the other day, and I've seen this in people that I work with, and I've worked with hundreds of tattooers around money, marketing, all this. But like, when it comes to marketing, if you uh if if you're not open and you're not like really letting people see you, and you're not giving, and you might need to, we talked about alter egos the other day, the alter ego effect, by was it Todd Harmon or whatever? Is that her? I can't remember his name, but yeah, they you need to give that openness to people through your marketing and when they come in to see you. And if there is some closed thing that people feel like you're unapproachable, that's something I've heard a lot from people that I work with. They're like, yeah, sometimes people just feel like, they've told me that they think I'm a little unapproachable. I'm like, okay, if you are your business and people feel like you are unapproachable, then your business is unapproachable. And how is that impacting your marketing? And so that's going to come through in your marketing. And you need to kind of look at that and do that inner work, and whatever you need to do to heal or evolve or set free, whatever that is. And now here's what I'll say. You don't have to be some bubbly fucking blah, 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 right? There are people, who's the fucking guy on Instagram? It really sick, amazing tattooer. I was texting myself his work the other day. He's an amazing tattooer, and he has incredible social. John Nelson. John Nelson on Instagram.
Oh,
Um,
he does those skits, right?
yeah, he does all the skits and stuff. He's not some bubbly fucking happy. No, in fact, he's the
Exact
opposite
opposite.
of that. And he fucking leans into it. He's so authentic about it. He's not trying to be something other than he is, but he's also like slightly laughing at himself. I get the sense of that.
Yeah.
He's like, I am like this. I'm not going to try to pretend to be anything other than what I am. But I also get that it's a little bit ridiculous and it's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
that's great fucking marketing.
Yep. Yep. You don't have to be
So
happy, bubbly personality.
Fake. It's about, but it's that, but I almost feel like he's more approachable because he's doing that. He might seem like in his skits, he seems a little bit intimidating, but because he does it so much, he becomes more approachable. And I just think that's super cool.
Yes. Yes. 100%. It's not being bubbly and outgoing and blah, blah, blah. I mean, if that's your personality, awesome. If that attracts other people, awesome. But it's being
lean into whatever you authentically are. That's
unless
really
you're a dick. Don't be a dick.
Unless you're a dick, then you fucking bad. Right.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I feel like if you leaned into that with a sense of love and compassion, and like, I'm not here to be harmful to other people, but I feel like if you leaned into the fact that you're kind of a dick, but you did it in a compassionate, loving way, I feel like it would probably work.
It probably would. It probably would. Again, the guy that I've been going to for 10 years, he's not super outgoing and bubbly. He's just a genuine dude and like cares about client experience, you know, how things go down in the shop. And he's got 7 artists now. Like he's been in Wenatchee 16 years. He is the only shop that has added additional artists in that entire time, which is nuts. Every other one's the same size. He was a single artist studio. He's got 7 artists now. He is extremely well known. And I mean, his art's good. But it's not like next level, like the shit we see out there now. And it's great. So Jimmy, I love your work. Obviously, I'll let you tattoo me if you're listening to this. But
there's always someone better. Like
there's always someone better. Yeah. But his personality and the experience are amazing. And he stays booked. He opens his books every 3 months, and within a week, they're always booked. Even in this economy. Like, there's still... People can blame the economy, but there's still people getting tattooed.
Even in the tat-pocalypse,
Even in the tat-pocalypse.
But Jesse, it's the tat-pocalypse. Don't you know?
I know.
Didn't you hear?
I heard.
The 4 horsemen of tattooing are coming down to smite all us sinners.
That would be amazing. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like there's still, if you look at pretty much any city, there's still plenty of people every single day getting tattooed. They're just not getting tattooed by you.
Yeah.
The people are out there.
That's the truth.
So anyway, Ryan, I've taken your time for almost an hour and a half, dude. I apologize.
No, it's fun, man. I look forward to getting to hang in person again whenever we get a chance. And
definitely,
I appreciate all that you do for the tattoo community. Like you are so skilled. You're so smart. Like I've been working with you on ads and stuff like that. And I'm like, this dude fucking knows his shit, but you fucking care. You fucking care so much. And like, it's just so rare that exists in any industry, and that you want to give that your skill, your passion to tattooing is so needed right now. And so I just want to thank you for being that for tattooing.
I really appreciate that, man. And likewise, dude, you can tell when you talk, like you could tell in someone's voice when they actually have passion for something and enjoy what they do. And that's rare, especially like, not just tattooing, but marketing and teaching and guru stuff. There's a lot of gurus, and like you listen to them talk and you're like, you sound like a fake piece of shit. But you can tell when you talk, you're a very genuine dude.
And I'm always here to learn. Like I'm just constantly learning. Beginner's mindset, student mentality. Like I will always have a student mentality. And one of the best ways for me to continue to learn is for me to teach what I do. And so that's where I'm at on my journey, but always a student.
How do people find you?
Ryan Roi Tattoo, RYANROI. Jesse asked me yesterday, he's like, is that your real last name?
I was about to bring that up.
In the world of finance, ROI is return on investment. And I was like, Jesse, it is my birth name. That is my father's last name.
So
it's
nuts.
a French Canadian, actually, because my dad's from Maine. And so there's like a French Canadian connection somewhere. So, Roi. means king
Okay.
in French. Um, and so yeah, Ryan return on investment, Ryan Roi tattoo on
Love that.
Instagram. I'll probably share this episode on my podcast on the Artful Dollar podcast on all places. And yeah, I'm doing a couple conventions coming up. I'm doing Literary Inc. I'm going to be teaching seminars on finances and marketing. I'm doing the Evergreen convention again, the one in September. I might be doing Gold Coast, I think. So I'm super excited about doing those. I love doing live. And then I got a couple seminars and stuff, like webinar things that I'm doing soon. So definitely check it out if you want to come and learn more about marketing or money or whatever weird shit I happen to be talking about.
Awesome, man. I massively appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.